Welcome to the Gaelic Fint. Me, Colin Crowley. This week, I'm going to try to keep it as brief as possible. We're going to talk about professionalism, okay? Because it's a really hot topic at the moment. Somebody asked, I think it was Sam Mullery got asked a question on off the ball, and it kind of just inspired a couple of other articles about it. So I'm going to add to it and add to the fire. So professionalism, okay? It keeps getting brought up. It's been brought up for years and years and years. Should players be paid? Should players be paid? And I suppose the one thing I'll always say about this, and I've been saying this at workshops and coaching courses, is we cannot compare ourselves to other organizations, okay? So development squads is a topic of mine that I'm not a huge, big fan of the current structure. Well, the GA brought in development squads because soccer and rugby had them, and we got to catch up because we're going to lose all our good players if they don't. Blah blah blah. And professionalism is another topic like that. That look, look, obviously with Kobe McDonald going to Australia, they're going fucking like we can't keep losing the players. Maybe we should be paying them. And the thing that you have to come back with the GA is the GA in essence, is an equal and fair organization in a lot of ways. Okay, I'm not saying every way, but I'm saying in a lot of ways. So if we were to go professional, okay, and this is one thing that never gets brought up in discussions, okay, it's all about you should get what are you giving? You're giving so much time and commitment, you're getting so little back, blah blah blah. This is how much the GA made last year, revenue they brought in, blah blah blah. Nobody ever brings up the actual numbers of what it would look like to be a professional hurler football, camogie ladies football, because we have to consider all four sports as equal and fair. So the hurler in Sligo and Leitrim has to be treated the same as the hurler in Tipperary, Kilkenny, Cork, Limerick, wherever. And the camogie player in Donegal has to be treated the same as the camogie player in Cork. Because look, we can't say we're equal and fair and equality and all this, and then just go, oh no, actually, you know what? You're not really at her level, so you're a different one from us, okay? Because that's not fair, because the player in the hurler in Sligo gives as much commitment as the hurler in Tipperary. Um, and I know, look, obviously there's individual cases, blah, 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 but you also have a junior player in Westmeath who gives as much commitment as a senior player. You know, it mightn't all just be through the playing part, it might be through coaching, through the administration in the club, by looking after the field. It might be a number of other things. People give so much time, of their free time, to the GA for nothing other than I'm happy with what I've done. I enjoyed it. It brought benefit to my life. Okay. And that's realistically what the GA is about for a lot of people, is a sense of belonging and a sense of I was able to provide something positive and tangible there. Okay. So for an intercounty player, that's them on the field on a Sunday in Crow Park or wherever it may be doing their business. For another person, it might be picking up the rubbish around the GA pitch, okay? But there's people all over the GA give a huge amount of time to it, okay? So the 31 hours thing got bandied around there a couple of years ago. The GA player gives an average 31 hours during the playing season, blah, blah, blah. And you go, right, okay, but that's nearly a full-time job, okay? But here are the numbers. If we paid 30 players on each panel, by four panels in each county, hurling football, camogie, ladies football. No, I won't forget handballers, we'll throw them in as well, because they give as much time, the elite ones, and multiplied by 32 counties in the country, and we'll just for the sake of argument, ignore Warwickshire and London and New York for this discussion. Um, you're talking close to 100 million a year, right? It would cost the GA if you paid each player 25,000 euro a year. Now, for a student in college, no full time job at home, they go, huh, I'll do it. 25,000 a year to be a professional hurling footballer, 100%, I am doing it, okay? And that's perfect. There will be a number of players do that, okay? But for anyone out in the workforce currently, well, one, it's below minimum wage. And two, they're probably earning multiples of that because they are a GA player. But also because if they've got to that level of hurling football or ladies football or camogie, they're obviously a very intelligent person and they're able to give a serious work ethic and commitment, whatever they put their hand to. So, like, one, if there was two people came into a job and one is an intercounty GA player and they're the exact same skill as the other person, some people will give that intercounty player benefit of the doubt and give them the job based on that. You know, other people will go the other way because go, you know what, they'll be missing a few days here, they'll miss a few days here, they'll want to leave work early. And there's that balance. But there is people that have got really good opportunities because of being a GA player. Okay. So I don't think we're going to get the best players in each county for 25,000 a year. I just think they're going to say, no, thanks. I'll stick to what I'm doing already and I'll keep doing that. Okay. And you have to take into account long-term things of this. Like, so if you're a teacher and you're starting out on, I don't know what the starting pay for a teacher is now. Let's say it's 30, let's say 40,000 for argument's sake, right? And I'm not too sure, right? But if they're going to spend 10 years in the GA earning 25,000 a year and a bit extra for sponsorship here and there, when they could be after accruing 10 years of promotions or 10 years of incremental rises, it's a huge amount of money to be left behind. So let's say, forget about 25,000, let's make it 50,000 a year. 200 million a year we need to raise in the GA. Now, add to that, you need to have full-time coaches, a full-time coach and a full-time manager, first team coach, a full-time manager. You need to probably have physio stroke, medical personnel on a full-time call-in basis. You need to full-time catering. You need facilities that are able to take on full-time use. And you're adding up all those things by all those codes and all the things, and you're talking another definitely a million per county for all those things. Because like sure, we have to have a full time coach. Why would we wait till he's finishing his normal job and train at 7:30 at night time when we can do it at 10 o'clock in the morning, which is optimal for recovery for professional athletes, blah blah blah. So you're talking huge money, which the GA does not have. And there's no way the GA could fundraise that amount of money as a standalone to fund that, okay? Now, obviously, look, you'd start take out the 2 point whatever 1 million the Cox spent this year, take out the 2 million that Donegal spent, and just add it up, and you get to wherever you get 50 million spent on intercounty teams. But it's just not feasible. It's just not feasible. Now, the only way it could be a runner is if they did something like the T20. We'd have a breakaway. We'll take the top eight, top 240 players. We'll make 8 panels in each code, and they'll just play as professionals. And there'll be games on Wednesday nights, on Thursday nights, on Friday nights, on Saturdays, and we just run a league and a championship based off that. Okay, but again, you're talking like even if might have to go up to 60, 70,000, you're talking still a fair amount of money. And Ireland is a small country with a very small population. We're not like England, where the 60 million people are going to watch England in a World Cup final. The All Ireland final get a million people in there watching, and obviously multiples worldwide from all the different places. But the money, the TV revenue, is a huge part of professional sport. And Ireland is just not able to sustain that. So we can see that in the soccer league, the Aircom League or the Electricity League or whatever it's called. It's players getting a basic enough wage and short-term contracts, no long-term structure. But they have the incentive that if I do really well, I might get a League One or a Premier Championship thing in England, a transfer where I'm getting much better paid. That's their incentive. What's the incentive for the lad playing hurling? Be get onto that team in the hurling team, it's just not there. It's not the same, and it's just not feasible. We just don't have the money. The other thing to take into account as well, is as I said, we talked about all the auxiliary things. The county boards have a huge part. The county boards and the GPA have a huge part to play in this. They are enabling what is happening at the moment, which I would say from the outside is abuse of players. Okay. And what I mean by that is, as a player, if you're 21 years of age and you get into an inter-county senior panel, you're just going to shut up and get on with what you're told. You do whatever you're told. If you're told to go training 5 mornings a week and five evenings a week, you're going to do it. County boards and GPA need to pull back in this. County boards, the rule is, I think, 3 sessions a week at this time of the year. I'm not exactly sure, but somebody might correct that. So let's say the county board say Tuesday, Thursday, and Saturday, for argument's sake, you're going to train. We'll provide payment for the physios, the doctor, the masseuses, the catering, and the mileage for all the players on those days only. So if the big bad manager says, "Oh, we're going to do a session on Friday night as well," the county board are going, "Well, you can do it, but nobody is getting their mileage. There's going to be no physio there. There's going to be no video analysis. They're not going to get paid for turning up." So once they know about that, that's great. And very quickly, what would happen is that whole thing would fall apart. So I don't know, do intercounty managers get a set pay? Do they get, look, there's 80,000 there for you, collected at the end of the year, or collect whatever amount a month, or as a per session, or what? I don't know, okay? But I know that all those other auxiliary things, like, as I said, S&C, physios, masseuses, catering, they're all paid per session that they're there. So county boards say, we're not going to pay them outside of what we're allowed, then it's going to fall apart. It won't happen. Okay. And if the players aren't getting mileage, they're going to kick up a fuss as well. And then that whole thing will fall apart and cause more negative than positive. And the whole thing falls apart. And the GPA need to come in and say to the players, and whoever the players representative in each county is lads, we're either all doing this together or we're forgetting about it. Because there is too much of one county doing one thing, other counties not doing it. All the counties need to be on the same wavelength here. that they're limiting the amount of contact time that they're asking of these players, that we allow them to have a life. We allow them to do something on a Wednesday night because they have a night off training every week. We have to give them that bit back because at the moment they go into a bubble and it's very heartening to see the amount of players, for ex-players, that come out of it and go, oh, geez, like, it's too much. It's too much. But when they're in there, they don't see it because they're in the bubble and they're in a cocoon of other people that are thinking the same. We need to get better. We need to get better. Where can we get this inch? Where can we get that 1%? And it's understandable. So we have to be very conscious of that as well. So taking all that into account, the GPA need to tell the players, reps, ads, if they're doing more than that, tell us. We'll be the big bad wolf. But I don't think I can't recall, and maybe it's done in private, that happening on a bigger scale where it's caused any bit of uproar. Okay. Two, chairman, CEOs, whoever, the enablers in the county board that are allowing all these additional sessions and additional things to happen, they need to be pulled up on it as well. And they're not being. Because the chairman wants to win a provincial title. He wants to win an Ireland. He wants to win a National League on his watch. He wants to be at the end of year function and the cup sitting up in front of him at the old the Congress or whatever they have in each county at the end of the year. And the GA have to start withholding funding for these things. And they have to start being a bit more methodical in that we're not going to just give funding for fellas to go for mileage, for all this mileage and all this nutrition and all this stuff when they should only be doing X amount. And we got to go back to that becoming a norm. That limited is better than more. Less is better than more. And we allow the game to be a little bit, maybe the quality of the game might suffer a small bit. Maybe they might be as tactically astute as they might otherwise be. But that's not going to be no harm. That's not going to do any harm to the people going to the match on a Sunday to watch it inside in Park Queeve, Simple Stadium, at Markfitts Park, wherever it may be. Okay. Let the players go and play for their colleges. Let the players go and play for their schools. This crack of players not being allowed released to play with their college in a knockout league game now because they might have a Cork game, a county game in 3 months' time is absolutely madness. It's absolutely madness. Some of the players who had their best years at inter-county level after they had a full year of hurling or football within the college setup. And they had a full year of playing games at really high level throughout, and then it stopped. Okay. So that's something that has to happen as well. County boards need to stop enabling managers to be pulling players and taking away that bit of joy, that bit of enjoyment and relaxation of going out on a bus with a bunch of lads from all around the country, going to play a match, then hopping back in the bus, maybe having a drink or two or something, just relaxing on the way back and not have to worry about, is the inter-county manager going to hear about this? Heard a very good point from Neil Ewing, and I know this has been echoed before previously as well, about players play for their clubs and are released to the county team. So look at it like the soccer, and I should say, don't look at other associations, but look at it like the soccer with the international break, that they're released to play with the county times during the year, that it could be 3-week blocks, and they get 3 weeks on, 3 weeks off. And during those 3 weeks off, there's no funding, no accommodation for collective gatherings with those groups. And that just becomes the norm. And if a county wants to break those rules, they're reprimanded and they're punished. And that's the only way to do it. Okay. Anyway, to what I started with, figures don't add up. It will not happen. Just current guys. Thanks, everybody.